Welcome to the Carbonite Jedi, where we rediscover the magic of Star Wars, the original series, and beyond. And thank you so much for coming to my live stream tonight, where we are going to be ranking the Star Wars movies and TV series. And I'm excited to see what y'all think and what y'all rank them, because this will be interactive, because your vote counts. And I will have people on the panel that will join me who will be voting also. So I want to thank them too. Real quick, I want to thank my patrons. I have 5 levels. I have Youngling level, Padawan, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, and Jedi Grandmaster. And under Padawan, I have Kirsten Warner, Larry Warner, and Craven Something Scary. So I want to say thank you to those guys for supporting me. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to send a super chat, feel free. I greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel. And now I want to bring in my first guest. He's been on the show a couple of times, and it is Kyle from Let's Movies and Pop Culture. What's going on, Kyle?
Doing good, man. Like I said, thanks for the invite, man. There's gonna be a lot of fun, hang out with you tonight and just talk Star Wars and rank them. This is gonna be a blast for sure, and be a fun time.
Yeah. So you've been did you grow up with Star Wars?
I did. My parents, I may not have been born when it first came out, but my parents introduced me to the original trilogy right away. They had the original cuts, not what Lucas did with them later on.
Oh,
the original versions. So that's how I got introduced to them. Then I've been a Star Wars fans ever since. So.
Before the CGI, right?
Yeah, before the CGI, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, the next person I am going to bring on is Michael from Movies and Beyond. Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? I'm ready to talk some Star Trek. What's going on?
Are you really?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Spock is my favorite. Let's do this.
I thought we were going to talk Galaxy Quest. What are you talking about?
Come on, man.
Wait, what? We're talking about
Justin Long was awesome in that. Like, seriously, I don't think he gets enough credit. Galaxy Quest was the shit. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
It was, yeah.
All right. And Michael, I know you're a big Star Wars fan.
Yes.
And
yes, I am.
So I know you were around before the prequels came out.
Mm-hmm.
But was when the prequels came out, were you all excited about them, or were you kind of upset like some of the fans were with The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones?
Well, it was a funny time for me for the simple fact that when the first one came out, I was getting ready to go into the military.
Mm-hmm.
And it dropped. I wasn't a fan of Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
The beginning of it, I was very excited. You saw the two Jedis together, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. You were getting that familiar music. You saw the crawl for the first time in forever. I was amped up, and I didn't hate it as much as most, because I was just kind of like, well, Jar Jar, not whatever. But that lightsaber duel between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul brought it all back for me. Like, okay, I can do this. You know what I mean? You had Anakin in the piloting the ship, attacking. Like, dude, it was Star Wars, man. Like it felt like Star Wars to me. And I know there were a lot of people like, hey, these are stormtroopers. Like, this isn't my Star Wars, but it's like, come on, guys. Now Attack of the Clones, when you get into that, it was just like, I felt like there was a lot of stuff that I didn't care about too much. But again, I was brought back by seeing Yoda whip out the lightsaber. I remember the theater being dead quiet, and Yoda comes walking in, and all you hear is my voice go, "Oh shit," because he came in. He takes his coat like this. He sticks his hand out, and that lightsaber just flips into us. He doesn't even pull it out. He just has his hand out, and that lightsaber, and that little old man with that stick just starts flipping everywhere. I was losing my mind over that. I was losing my mind so much over that, dude. And then you get like Jango Fett, the battle between Obi-Wan and him, on the clone planet. It's slipping my mind right now. And
Genosis.
then yeah, and then you get, you know, the wall of Jedis that come to fight in that big battle, and it's just like, man, you guys are really bringing this back. You know, you're bringing me back into this. So I
Mhm.
saw some good banter between Obi-Wan and Anakin as well, so it doesn't make me hate the movie, but I do feel like it was the weakest one out of the trilogy. And don't even get me started on Revenge of the Sith. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll hold that for the wheel of wonder. All right. Well, I've
probably a little more than you wanted from me.
no.
But
Got everybody amped up, and I know
gave
it to
Val.
you
anyway.
Val is ready to go. She's ready to
the
watch all
general
of them.
is in the chat. She always gets a salute from Movies and Beyond. What is
Yeah.
up, Val?
Yeah, Val was ready to like watch all the movies, like go on
A binge.
a binge. Exactly.
Darn
All
right.
right. So we have one other person waiting backstage right now, and that is JD from Dinning Brothers Gaming.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
Up.
You heard all that stuff backstage. You had to
Yeah,
throw in Camino.
yeah. Camino.
Oh, I see it now. I didn't even see it when we were
Camino.
talking. Yeah.
You said Geonosis, and I was like, no.
Oh, I thought he was talking about where they had the lightsaber
No.
duel.
No, like where
Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan
and Django
fought
fought.
on the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When you say Jango Fett, I just immediately go to when he gets beheaded by
Yeah,
Mace Windu. So
which is pretty
Did
crazy.
you guys see the alternate version of that?
Huh.
when his head pops out of in the shadow.
No, like where it shows like he cuts his arm off first.
Yes.
And then, like,
Oh,
it's
yeah, I
freaking,
have.
Oh,
like I'm like, dude, that was rough. Like Jedi's don't do that. Like,
yeah.
but then again, I don't know if Jedi's beheading people either. So it's just kind of like, well, I like what
Yeah.
they left in there.
If you're in a firefight with somebody like that, it's not like all peace and primroses. Huh?
Tell me the truth, though. Tell me the truth, and you know, I will watch my mouth. I know that this is a family friendly show, but was I the only one expecting Samuel L. Jackson to drop an MF bomb in that movie at some
Yeah.
point? Like he's gonna do it. Like where is it?
Yeah,
Just to be
I
kind of
guess
let down.
he just wrote it on his lightsaber instead.
Yeah.
I wanted
for
it.
sure.
I wanted it. I wanted it.
Yeah. So that's good stuff, man. Genosis,
stuff.
Camino. I mean,
Geonosis was the big battle with the bugs.
Yeah.
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 So guys, real quick before we start up, Kyle, what's going on with your channel real fast?
Oh, a lot of stuff. Like on Monday, I'm interviewing Damien Rugna, who he was the director of When Evil Lurks, and Terrified. I just recently dropped it video today, so that was a lot of fun to discuss that. There's a lot of big guests coming on this month. I do have planned coming on the 24th. Analyzing Horror Lore, we discussed our favorite vampire films and werewolf films. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of stuff that I got in the works for this month. I'm can't wait to show you guys. So
Awesome. And I hope your interview goes good.
thank you,
It's always nerve-wracking to interview new people and stuff. So
especially a director like that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So
all right. Well, Michael, any new stuff going on your channel, or are you just trying to do your three videos or live streams a week, or how's that going?
Just kind of wing it, see what happens. No. So Sundays or it's the Sunday show, and then I always have the Friday show. The Friday show we alternate. So like tonight we did horror shorts, independent horror shorts. We did those tonight. Such a good time tonight. We had some great ones on there that we watched tonight that were one of them in particular that's just stuck with me that I absolutely loved. And then it alternates with Paranormal Friday. So Friday, same time, just the next week, we deep dive into paranormal videos. We watch them, we talk about each one, and it's so much fun to do, man. Like that stuff is fun. I've got some member streams coming up soon. I've got something else I'm working on. I'm gonna try to get a certain guest to come over and talk about revisiting a certain horror movie. I try to do that once a month. Last month was the first one I did. We revisited Freddy versus Jason, which was an absolute blast because I got the guy that went with me to the theater when that movie came out to come on the show. And we talked about our movie theater experience seeing Freddy versus Jason in the theater. So we had a great time with that, a lot of memories and a lot of things tied to that. So I'm going to kind of do something along, similar along the lines with this, the once a month show.
Okay.
But I honestly, I don't even remember seeing Halloween H2O in the theater. So it won't be as in depth, but I definitely want to talk about the movie. And I just told you the name of it. Yeah. So I'll be doing Halloween H2O, which is not a favorite of mine. I know it's a big favorite of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've recently rewatched it and I have a few more gripes about it, but I also have a few more things that I really enjoyed watching it recently. And I think that's something that's so great about those movies that, you find, even though it's so old, you find little things with them. And that's why I like to revisit the older movies, just once a month. And I'll pick something that a large group of people like and care to hear my opinion on. I mean, I'd love to do it on Sleepaway Camp too, but I don't think that there's a lot of people that would really, want to really dive deep into. I mean, how deep can you really dive into Sleepaway Camp 2? I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but stuff like that, yeah, man.
Hey, Russell. I love the original Highlander. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorite movies.
Yes.
All right, JD, what's going on with your channel? Any new games coming out that you're going to be playing, or?
So I think this Monday, the first episode dropped of me and my brother it's our turn for the Monday series. So we're playing A Way Out, which is two guys doing kind of like a prison escape. They find out they have something in common. They want to get revenge on someone named Harvey, so they're trying to find a way out of prison to work together to get their revenge on someone named Harvey. But there's some kind of twists and stuff that happen along the way. So it's a pretty good game. I've played it before, but my brother Eric hasn't, so it'll be kind of fun for us to play through that together.
Steve and I played that when I was at his house, but I don't have a PlayStation 4, so we weren't able to continue playing it. So.
Yeah. And then Wednesday, me and my youngest brother, we did the continuation of the game The Forest. So the sequel to that is Sons of the Forest. So once again, we've crash landed into a forest and they're trying to figure out why who's experimenting on the people and why they're turning into like cannibal creatures, and kind of a creepy but fun survival game. And then Friday, we're still playing some sort of battle royale. So the new season of Apex just dropped. Played a couple of games, not sure how we feel about it yet. And then we also still got Fortnite and the finals.
Is Apex like what they did upgraded, or is it totally different?
It's got a new map and they've changed some like features about like how you can respawn and stuff, and it's kind of weird, but we've only played a couple games, so we haven't got to mess around with it too much.
They took out teabagging and stuff.
Yeah.
Why would you take that out? That's the best part of the shooter.
Yeah.
So are you going to play Outlaws when it comes out?
Yeah, I think I will. I haven't seen too much footage of it, but I mean, it's a Star Wars game, so they're usually pretty fun.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see that. And
yeah,
did you ever finish Baldur's? Was it Baldur's Gate or?
No, I once NCAA 25 came out, I kind of dropped everything.
Oh. Playing the college football.
Yeah.
Dude, those were the best. I need to get that game. Like, I loved NCAA college football. Like, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And to see that come back is just like, let's go. Like,
yeah, it's pretty
fun.
awesome.
What's it been, like 15 years or something?
I think the last one was like 2014 or something like that. So
yeah,
like
at least
11 years. Coming up on 11 years.
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor was fun.
Yeah, and then they had what was the second one?
That was the second one. The first one was Fallen Order.
That's right, Jedi Fallen Order. I always forget that one.
What were the was it Force on? Oh my God.
Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed was so much fun, dude.
Yeah, the Star
That
Killer.
game. Oh my God, that game was so much fun.
Yeah, those were good.
if you have the Switch or anything, they have the bundle of, I
They
think
have a bunch of games in that bundle. They have like Star Wars Jedi Knight Academy, the second one,
the Force Unleashed and Force Unleashed 2, and
Battlefront.
What was the guy's name again? Who the main character of that
Star
game?
Killer.
So Starkiller, the guy that voices Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, they used him. That's Starkiller, man.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool.
There's a really cool interview about how he got the part. It's like he was like coming in to like meditate, and he was like really tense, and he's like, and they're like, why are you doing that? And they're like, he's like, he doesn't know how to meditate. He's like, this is how he thinks to do it. And like he's like, that's when they said he got the part, is when he like explained and like has so much Star Wars knowledge.
Yeah, he's trying to force the pieces together instead of man, like that's so cool.
I wish he would direct a show.
For sure.
He's freaking awesome. What's his name again?
His first name's Sam.
Sam.
Begin with the W?
Yeah, it does with the W.
Oh, hold on. Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's so cool, man. Like he's definitely.
Steven.
Hey guys.
Hello there.
Hey.
I feel like that was, that's a good greeting for a Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Hello there. That's when you're supposed to say General Kenobi.
General Kenobi. Yeah.
That's how you answer.
General Craven.
Yeah, there we go.
That's right.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Execute Order 66.
Do it.
Oh God, I can't wait to talk about Order 66.
And how are you feeling, Steven? How are you feeling?
Doing all right, man. Doing okay. Plugging along, brother.
That's good. Good to hear.
Hey, Mike, just so you know, there's maybe some time here where I have to disappear for a few minutes. So
that's fine.
But I'll be back.
Okay. So, I'll be back.
That's
all
right.
Steve.
Yeah.
Everybody's been. JD, is there anything else about your channel that you were?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. All right. We were talking about what's going on our channels, briefly.
Cool.
So what's going on with the Craving Something Scary?
Well, I've got some things in the works, but pretty basically going to be streaming tomorrow night, and we're going to it's going to be a hangout stream. I may go back to finishing at the rankings of the Wes Craven films that I started last week. We didn't get through all 35 movies. So, 35.
Yeah.
So,
how many did y'all get through?
I think there's like 12 left still.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got through a good chunk of them, but so I've got that tomorrow night, and then Sunday night, I hope you guys can come at 7 Central. I'm having, because it's Wes Craven month on my channel, right? He was born in August. He passed away in August. So August is officially Wes Craven month. So I do special watch parties more than usual and things. And Sunday night, it's going to be another Craven watch party. And it's either going to be Feast. Remember that, Mike?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's either going to be Feast, which a lot of people have never seen. He has produced the movie.
Yeah.
And then the other one may be the original 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh, good choices.
Picking up the big gun there from 84. So we'll see. One of those two will be the movie. I'll decide tomorrow and post it. But you guys are all invited to come watch, to do the watch party, man, and we'll watch it. It'll be fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds fun, man. But that's the time of my son. That's Sunday. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah,
it's 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, that's Sunday horror hangout for me, man. But I'll definitely try to catch the replay.
Man, that's right. I forgot. Your show starts at 8?
Yeah. Sundays is 8. Yeah, we do the Sunday horror hangout. Me and Mad Matt from Mad Matt's Mask.
Yeah, I like Matt. He's a cool dude.
He is, man. We're doing the we're putting the horror supernatural TV shows into the bracket. So that should be fun.
Hey, Russell. Yeah, man. I've never seen any of them. The only episode I ever saw of Supernatural was the one with Scooby-Doo.
Oh, that was a dude. The supernatural, like I'm meaning like supernatural as in like horror supernatural TV shows that could fit under.
Oh,
So
got it,
I pick
got it, got
one,
it.
Matt picks one, and we let the
Okay.
live chat fill up the rest of the bracket. And they all
Fun.
vote. We talk about each movie, but they're the ones that decide who the winners are. So it's a fun little time, interactive
Nice.
with everyone. So
Yeah.
everyone's a part of it.
Hey,
Oh, that's
Lego.
cool.
All
So-
right. Well,
Yeah, and one thing, Michael, for the Movie Bros, I want to mention, we're going to be having the incredible Chuck Borden, who's I've had him a couple times on my channel. He's going to be coming over to the Movie Bros. He's in the U.S. right now because he lives in the Netherlands, and but he's in the U.S. from Film Festival, and he just actually emailed me earlier and gave me his U.S. cell phone so that I can reach out to him directly and we can set a date. So Chuck will be coming to the Movie Bros React for an interview, and the guy is a stunt coordinator, and he's got like 300 films to his credit.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
no.
starting in the 70s, going all the way through to 2000s. So anyway, I just want to plug that. It's going to be we don't have the date yet, but it will be set up soon. So
Awesome.
And
man.
this Thursday, if he doesn't show up, we will probably be watching the
yeah,
Fat Boys Disorderlies movie,
Disorderlies. Yeah, buddy.
which is a classic 80s movie.
I was waiting for some news on Porky's, but you know, I just...
I mean, it's definitely on the radar. It is on the radar.
Don't let me miss that one. Like, I want a message on Instagram, like, "Hey, we found a date and solidified it. I'm not
There
making
you
any
go.
plans that day." Like that, I want to be there for that one.
You got it.
All
That's
right.
so fun.
So, Lego, we're just about to start. I was getting everybody's info on their channels and what's going on there. And so let me pull up. Let me pull up the ranking system. All right. So here we are. I don't know if y'all can see that, but the top level is iconic. The second one is one of my favorites. I'm borrowing Steve's terminology.
Sure.
The third one is good, middle of the pack, not my favorite, and then the very bottom is Into the Chute, Flyboy. So, and then I have all 9 movies plus Rogue One, Solo, and then Michael's favorite, The Acolyte, Ahsoka, and/or The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And when I'm talking about these series, I'm not talking about an individual season. If they had multiple seasons, I'm talking about it all together at once. So, and here's our wheel of fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down the line, and I'll spin the wheel for each person, and then they can rank that where they think it should go on one of those lines, and then everybody else gets to vote, and the people out in chat get to vote also, and we'll see where it lands. So, JD, would you like to be the first person to go?
Sure.
All right, let me spin this wheel.
It's 1 to 5, Mike. Rankings is 1 to 5 stars.
Oh man! Right off the bat.
Star
Hey,
Wars.
Mike, is the rankings 1 to 5 stars?
No,
Oh.
it's 6.
Oh, we're doing never mind. I got it. Yeah.
Doing the tier chart.
yeah.
Tier chart. Yep.
So this is Star Wars: A New Hope,
Star
correct?
Wars and New
Yeah,
Hope.
it was for me. It's always Star Wars. I mean, I got confused when they came out with this New Hope thing back in the 80s. I'm
I
like,
do it
what are
all
they
the time.
talking about?
I do it all the time. I had someone correct me in a comment once because on a poll because I put up Star Wars and they're like, "That's A New Hope." It's like, son, you don't understand that when I was a kid, that was Star Wars, bro.
Mhm.
They're
I
all
know
Star
that.
Wars. I'm not even gonna argue with you at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, it took them like 4 or 5 years to come out with that New Hope stuff.
Yeah.
All right, JD, you got the floor.
Can you go back to the?
Yeah.
I would say like middle of the pack. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm about my eyes got big.
It's obviously that's iconic. That's the start of Star Wars. Like, I mean, there's nothing that could top that.
Yep.
It's the beginning. So yeah, definitely has to fall under iconic.
Okay. Michael?
I'm gonna put it under one of my favorites.
One of your favorites.
Star Wars. Yes, it is the origin. It is the thing that got everyone started, or got everything started. But in the grand scheme of things, I do think that there are a couple better than Star Wars.
Okay.
A New Hope, for those who care.
All right, Kyle. What about you?
Oh, it was definitely iconic for me.
Yeah.
Because I think they introduced those amazing characters that we're still talking about all these years later. Seeing them duel for the first time, the lightsabers for the first time, was just epic and got me pumping from the beginning. And then the iconic score, the score was for Star Wars. It's just an amazing film. It's definitely iconic for me. And it had changed science fiction, for sure.
All right, Steve.
Oh yeah, this is iconic, 100%. I don't even have. I don't think we need to discuss it any further. It's
Nope.
just that's like no, iconic. Stamp it. I'm moving on.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
it's iconic.
So I'm gonna rank it iconic because it not to sound creepy or anything, but it touched me in a specific way whenever
Show me on the doll where it touched you.
This
Oh,
is my
wow.
no spot.
Oh,
Anyway, it was you know how in the 80s
I'll be right back.
in the 80s horror had gone down to like pretty much horrible shows, and then they came out with Scream and toward the 90s, and it kind of brought back a resurgence of a whole bunch of horror movies, because back in the 80s it was kind of, they had horror movies, but they're kind of funny, sort of.
You have lost your mind. The 80s was one of the best decades of horror. Like, you've got A Nightmare on Elm Street, you've got Friday Floor, you've got a lot of good stuff. Maybe towards the end.
Well, I should take that back. I should say like slasher movies, sort of, because it seemed like going forward that they didn't put a lot of money. It didn't seem like, to me, they didn't put a lot of money into production of that. And for me, I didn't see many movies like space movies, maybe Star Trek a little bit, the TV series and the movie, but they didn't put a lot of time and effort into sci-fi. So when Star Trek came out, it just blew me away, with the effort and the money that they put into it. So to me, it'll always be iconic. The first 2 or 3 will always be iconic for me. So, yeah, I had to take that back because they did come out with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. And stuff
Nightmare
like
on
that.
Elm Street. I mean,
Yeah.
the list goes on for 80s.
Yeah. All right, so JD had iconic, Kyle had iconic, Steve and myself had iconic, but Russell and Michael had one of your favorites.
Yeah.
So it goes into iconic. All right. Michael, it is time to spin for you. I'll take that off. All right, let's spin it.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Always bet on black.
Oh, it's on the
Well,
line.
this is going to be a fun one to talk about.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All right.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series. I do not share the common the way that the popular kids view this movie in the Star Wars, or this show in the Star Wars, community. I really enjoyed this one. Obi-Wan Kenobi, I had patience with it where a lot of people didn't. You know, the first couple episodes are like, this is bull crap. Obi-Wan Kenobi wouldn't do that. I mean, really, if you really think about what he had just went through like a decade before, this wasn't Obi-Wan Kenobi from Revenge of the Sith. He basically thought that he had killed someone he looked at like as a son. You know, everyone that he was friends with was gone. That is going to tear somebody up. And then when him and Vader faced off, and that iconic, to me, it was an iconic scene, although it was a little ripoff from Rebels. That's fine. But when he said, you know, I'm sorry, Anakin, for all of it, you know, and Vader, because it's Vader at that point, replies, you know, Anakin is gone. I'm what remains. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. Chills, man. Like the goose, like all of that stuff. It transported me back to Return of the Jedi, where Luke was talking to Obi-Wan's ghost, and he was like, you told me that Vader betrayed and murdered my father. And Obi-Wan says, well, from a certain point of view. You know what I mean? That was the certain point of view that he was talking about in Return of the Jedi. Like, to me, it just all fell into place, man. This is one of my favorites out of the TV shows. I have to put it there. I do understand the gripes with it, with Leia, kind of like when she's being chased around. It's like, man, just reach your hand out and grab her. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but the Obi-Wan Anakin, seeing them back together, man, their chemistry was still there. Hayden killed it for me, like as Vader. When Vader grabs that ship that's trying to take off and rips it, dude, that's one of the most iconic Vader shits I've ever seen. I mean, arguable with Rogue One, you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, I've got to put this as one of my favorites for sure.
Yep. All right. Kyle?
This is one of my favorites too. I had a blast with it. It was great to see, you know, Ewan McGregor return as Obi-Wan again and show him that what Obi-Wan's been doing after 10 years. And it was great to see him, Hayden Christensen together again. Even seeing Vader, that fight scene was epic. There's some really great scenes in this that really explored that story. And I always wanted, ever since Revenge of the Sith, ever since they mentioned it, it was so cool to see it towards the end. We got to see Qui-Gon make that cameo. That was so cool because I've been waiting for that moment because we heard about it, we would never get to see it until then. And so yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Okay. All right, Steve.
Not sure if he's back yet.
Okay, I'll go then. So as you're saying, Obi-Wan came out and I didn't know how to. I was trying to like put myself in his spot, and what you said, you know, it that's what I was thinking too about, you know, what he's been through. And when Reva, the Inquisitor, tells him, you know, Anakin's still alive or something, you know, it never dawned on me that he didn't know Anakin was still alive until that point. And I'm like, oh yeah, he wouldn't think that Anakin was still alive. He would think Anakin had died and burned up. So that was kind of a shock to me. And the only thing I didn't like was I didn't like Reva as the Inquisitor. She kind of like turned me off on the series. And that's only my major gripe is that they kind of like pushed her in there to be this antagonist, which, you know, they really didn't need to. But yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi will be one of my favorites for all time, and I'm so disappointed that they didn't do a season 2 or even a season 3 also, because they have so much good like backstory that they could use for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. But Kathleen Kennedy shut that down.
It's kind of tricky though with that, you know, because you don't want to do too much or else maybe Obi-Wan's reaction to fighting Vader in A New Hope is different. You know what I mean? So it's a slippery slope with that. Like, that's what I was thinking going into this. Like, so they fought before, you know, in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope to where it was just like, how are you guys going to do this? But I think that they did it very well.
They did, but I mean, if
Yeah.
they went into a second season, they could have leaned more into like the Legends series,
Mhm.
where it was Obi-Wan when Luke was a little bit older, and they were dealing with the Hutts or Chrysanthemum, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to, start fighting Vader again. I know people would have been disappointed, but like you said, you start doing that, it kind of dilutes everything and doesn't make sense. So
It's tough.
Hey, Steve. So we're ranking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, the series.
Yes,
Oh yeah. Okay. Is it my turn already or?
it is.
Okay. So give me 1 second or a second.
JD, why don't you go ahead?
All right. I was gonna say like it was good, but with the that scene with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader kind of makes it go to one of my favorites. Just that scene alone was just like kind of like made the show awesome. Like that, and like Michael said, gave me chills. And I don't know, like the other parts were kind of weird. Like, wasn't there a guy with like a dual lightsaber that everyone thought was like pretty kind of cool, and then he kind of ended up being like a nothing? Wasn't that in Obi-Wan, or am I thinking of a different show? He had like a double lightsaber, and he like threw it at. Maybe I'm thinking of Ahsoka. I might be thinking of Ahsoka.
I think I know who you're talking about. I think you are thinking about Ahsoka.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one.
But yeah, it's one of my favorites. I mean, and Obi-Wan is one of my favorite characters just because you think of all the stuff you've been through and how he just keeps being like a good, true Jedi. So
Yeah.
I think this will have to be up to one of my favorites.
All right. Steve, you okay? You ready to go?
Yeah. I'm ready now.
Okay.
Should be good to go for a while.
Okay.
Okay, so the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which I just got through rewatching, Obi-Wan, The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, over the last week and a half. I binged them again. So I really like Obi-Wan, and it was great to see him face Darth Vader, and 2 times. One where he tries to burn Obi-Wan like he did, like he got burned, which I thought was cool. And then, of course, the epic fight where the rocks and stuff is. Anyway, I liked it a lot. I would rank this probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
Okay. So I think everybody on the panel ranked it as one of their favorites,
Oh, nice.
and Russell ranked it as iconic.
Cool.
So it goes to one of the favorites. And that's one thing I forgot to do was put Book of Boba Fett on here. But we
Yeah.
can rank it at the end.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll remove that. And Kyle, it's your turn. We're going to spin this wheel for you.
My getting.
It's Acolyte.
Oh, yeah. Attack of the Clones.
The show or the movie?
Which one is the movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess the show's called The Clone Wars.
It is. And I don't see that on the list.
Yeah, I was doing live
I got you.
action.
I gotcha.
For me, out of the trilogy, I think it's good. For me, I do love it has one of my favorite scenes, one of my favorite mind train tricks when he comes to Obi-Wan in the bar. And he's like, "You want me to sell me death sticks? You don't want to sell me death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life. I want to go home and rethink my life." That's still one of the funniest moments ever.
Yeah.
The dialogue scenes between Anakin and Padme can just drag and it gets me crazy. That's definitely the weakest point of the movie for sure. But what saves it for me is when they're all captured and they're trying to survive with all those monsters, and then you get that epic walk with Count Duke, not Count Duke. What am I saying? I'm dragging out his name. We just talked about him earlier.
Yoda?
No, Samuel
Obi-Wan?
Jackson's character.
Mace
Mace
Windu?
Windu.
Mace Windu. Yeah, Mace Windu. I don't know why I was blanking out his name. When he says I don't think so, and he puts his purple lightsaber up against Count, gets one of the characters there, and that was epic. And then everyone just comes alive with all their lightsabers, and it just goes crazy from there. And with that lightsaber battle, and when it was just epic, and then you get to see the awesome lightsaber with Yoda with Count Dooku later on. And it was just epic. That's what saved the movie for me. That's how epic it was. To me, it was good. Just that all those other scenes were sometimes dragging. But we get to see the breaking point where Anakin really starts to come Darth Vader. Starts going evil when he has the, he thought he could save his mom. By the time you get there, she's dead, and so for me, it was good.
Okay. All right. So good for you. Steve, what about you?
Yeah. Attack of the Clones, the movie. Right. Confirming again.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say it was, I don't mind it. Like I enjoy the prequels have grown on me over time. Years and years ago, Mike, you remember I wouldn't refuse to watch them.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not watching any of these prequels ever again. And then, then I'm like, well, you know what? It's been a long time. And then let me look at them again. And then I start like, okay, I dig the droid that has all the hands and lightsabers.
Grievous.
General Grievous.
Yeah.
I'm like, General Grievous is pretty darn cool, man. And anyway, I won't go on. I think that's Attack of the Clones, right? Isn't that the right one? I think it is. But anyway, whatever. I like the characters. Dooku fighting Yoda. I thought that was really great. Whatever movie that was in. But for Attack of the Clones, I'm going to say middle of the pack. I could rank it good, but I'm going to say middle of the pack. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to have to go with, I was going to put it as not my favorite, but the scene where they're on Geonosis and they're fighting in that big, arena, that's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Yoda and Dooku fighting are pretty amazing, and doing the chase scene, Anakin just skydives out the speeder while they're like thousands of feet up in the air. That was pretty cool. But the reason it's not my favorite is they put so much time into this freaking love story. I know they have to have a love story, a love interest and stuff, but
right.
It was so much in the part where it was so cringe for me. I just can't stand it. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves is putting all this love stuff into like these action adventure movies. So yeah, I'm gonna put it middle of the pack also. Yeah. How about you, JD?
For me, I think I put it as good. The love stuff's kind of cringy, like when he grabs the pear or whatever it is and like or cuts it for her with the force or whatever and stuff like that. It's kind of like okay.
He's riding a big tick.
Yeah. But the Geonosis scene where the Clone Wars officially starts and like all the clones drop in and all the Jedi come out with their lightsabers. That was pretty sweet scene, and then all leads down to the battle with Count Dooku and seeing Yoda fight. So that part was like made it like what makes it good for me. So
okay, so you got good, Michael. I think you're the deciding vote.
Well, you guys talked about a lot of the scenes that made it not so great, and a lot of the scenes that made it good. So the deciding factor for me between middle of the pack and good is seismic charges.
Oh yeah.
That sound
Mhm.
in like surround sound is still one of the most epic sounds that I have heard in all of Star Wars. And seismic charges will make me go from middle of the pack to good.
Okay.
Nice.
Mhm.
All right. So we
All
got Russell said good, and then Kyle, Michael, and JD said good. So it's going to good.
All right.
All right. So Attack of the Clones.
And Christopher Lee was Count Dooku, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There it
Because he
is.
also did Lord of the Rings at the same time. That was cool.
Oh, he did it at the same time?
Yeah, he did. He filmed both films around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
He was killing it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. I mean,
Have you ever heard that story where the director of Lord of the Rings was talking about how he came up to him and said, you know, I was in special services during the war, and he goes, I know how a guy sounds like when he gets stabbed in the back.
Man.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Wow.
Ooh.
so he kind of like told him, yeah, Christopher Lee, he was in special forces, man. He was no joke.
Wow.
Mm.
He also played Dracula, which was cool.
Yep.
Oh yeah, him and the guy who played Grand Moff Tarkin, they were good friends too.
Wow.
All right, Kyle, that was you last.
Yeah.
Steve, you ready to spin
I'm
the wheel?
ready.
All
Yeah.
right, let's do it.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. That's my favorite of the prequels for sure. And I told Mike the other day, I watched it again recently, like, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And I told Mike, I said, dude, not only is Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion, is my favorite of the prequels, but I said it's a really good movie. Like, forget the prequels, just as its own movie, it's really, really good. So, yeah, for me, the lowest I would rank this would be good. But you know what? It's actually going to be one of my favorites because I could watch the Sith anytime. Yeah.
oh, yeah.
All right, so one of your favorites.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you, I think me sitting and watching The Phantom Menace with my daughter, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, all three of those movies with my daughter, made me appreciate it more than I did when I first saw it. You know, I got to see a lot more in there that, you know, I liked, but, you know, there's still things in there I didn't like. I mean, it will never match up to me to the original trilogy.
No.
But that being said, Revenge of the Sith, I think for me, it's between one of my favorites and good. But I think when I watch it now, because getting a lot better understanding of how Anakin fell and all that stuff that's going on the internet now, you could see, like, the last time Anakin and Obi-Wan talk, you know, there's so much, I don't know if the word's alliteration, but there's so much, so you see Anakin's in the shadow and Obi-Wan's in the sun when they say their goodbyes. And that's the last time they are ever say goodbye to each other, you know, as friends. And so there was a lot of stuff in there that I never picked up. So I'm just going to say one of my favorites. So, all right, JD, your turn.
I have to say this one's iconic. I mean, there's the CGI, the all the different fight scenes. I mean, with Obi-Wan and General Grievous was good, and at the beginning, Anakin and Count Dooku, like, you see the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. And I mean, the movie came out in 2005, and they still talk about the battle of the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like, I see interviews about it where they're like, that wasn't stunt doubles, that was us. Like and it wasn't sped up. Like we actually did all that. Like it was one of the most. It is probably the most iconic fight, I would say. I mean, unless you count the original like movie fight between Luke and Darth Vader, but to me, that's the best lightsaber duel out of all of the movies. So I had to put it on iconic.
Okay. All right. Michael?
Yeah, that's iconic, bro. I'm right there with you, man. 100%. You know, like that's where it belongs. That's where it should go. I mean, the only thing that pops in my head right now about Revenge of the Sith and that going into that iconic spot is another happy landing.
Yeah.
That's it. I'll go with what Steven said about the OG. Just stamp it. I don't have much else to say. You guys know how I feel about Revenge of the Sith. It goes. It belongs in the iconic category.
All right. Okay, Kyle, how about you?
It's one of my favorites. It's definitely my favorite of the trilogy, of the prequel trilogy. You know, and it's definitely the darkest too, and it has one of my favorite monologue scenes. It's between Anakin and the Chancellor, and that opera scene was just awesome. So many amazing, iconic duel fights, especially at the beginning with the rematch with Obi-Wan and Count Dooku and Anakin was so cool, and you could really see, the fall of Anakin go towards Darth Vader, and it's just amazing. So many iconic scenes in this, and the duel, of course, has the longest duel fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin. So cool, and then the way it ends, it ended the trilogy and set perfectly what we were see to come in the original trilogy. It's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
One of your favorites or iconic?
One of my favorites.
Okay. All right. So it's a tie between us three and Russell and JD and Michael.
I'm not changing.
Well, Mike,
right.
it's your channel. You get to make the call.
So this is how democracy dies.
You ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Darth Carbonite Jedi.
All right. So it'll go to one of my favorites.
All right.
All right. So I guess it's my turn now. I'm going to get the Acolyte. Okay. So The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
All right. So to me, I'm 6 years old seeing Star Wars, and it blows my mind. I go in 3 years after that, 3.5 years after that, and I'm able to see Star Wars, and it starts off with these huge, monstrous AT-ATs shooting across this landscape, and Luke's on this like tauntaun, and it's just something you don't see. I mean, they raised the bar of what Star Wars was, and then finding out about Darth Vader being Luke's father, that was like one of the most iconic. That's the iconic scene, not just Star Wars, but in movies. It just.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's iconic. I have to say iconic. All right, JD.
I would probably put this as one of my favorites. It's good. I like the Hoth scene. I like this, like the AT-AT or AT-ATs, right? And the big battle on Hoth and everything. And I mean, there's been a lot of games where you get to play on Hoth and fly those planes and circle around the AT-ATs and stuff. So yeah, it's probably one of my favorites. I like it.
Okay. All right, Michael.
All right. I was short on the last one, so I could be longer on this one. Look.
Okay.
This was the reason why I put the original Star Wars in one of my favorites, because The Empire Strikes Back is superior in every single facet of Star Wars. Like, you talked about the reveal, right? And I'll call it the reveal. You know, you talk about Hoth, which was something we saw desert and we saw space in the original Star Wars. Now we're seeing snow. Of course, we're seeing space. We're seeing a swamp. You know, visuals alone. We're seeing Cloud City. We're seeing a damn city in the clouds. And from a cinematic point of view, looking at when Darth Vader is on top of those stairs and Luke is walking up, and you get that split second where he's standing there with his hands on his hips like he's reaching for his lightsaber, and Vader's already standing there with his lightsaber out. The colors alone in that, it is a beautiful scene. Like, it is just, it couldn't have been any better. Usually you can look at something and be like, well, you couldn't. No, dude, this is perfection. This is perfection on screen. It ended on a downer. You know, we're used to happy endings. No, like, there's more to this story. You know, this was the perfect sandwich ingredient for the two movies that we got playing the bread. You know, it was the meat of the freaking series. Like, it was just, it started happy, it ended bad. Like, so it almost made you say, well, seeing Return of the Jedi now, not seeing it is not an option. I have to know what happens. They did such a good job with that. I feel like this is one of those movies I can say is a perfect movie, and it is iconic. Like, it's there's no, it is, to me, the best Star Wars movie, the best made Star Wars movie, the best looking Star Wars movie. It just is. It's Empire, iconic.
Okay, Kyle.
Oh, it's iconic for me. And what an iconic opening that he has. And this time we get to see the Empire in full force and do everything. And the reveal of Vader's father was still one of the best reveals if you don't get spoiled for it. Especially back then, no one knew about that. That must have been quite the reaction when people seen that in the theaters.
Yeah.
And the scenes when Luke's training to be a Jedi with Yoda, it makes me laugh. But those are great scenes. But there's some really funny scenes when Yoda's throwing those stuff around. It's hilarious. But it's an amazing movie. I mean, you also get to introduce Billy D. Williams as Lando for the first time too.
Yep.
So, and that was an amazing moment. And then I love how the Empire turns the tables and it really left on a ending like that. And we were like, geez, where do we go from here? And it was just perfect movie. So definitely.
It was also the intro of Boba Fett.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
No disintegrations.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Steve.
Oh, this is easy. I mean, it's iconic from beginning to end. I just love this. Love the Empire. I love the original trilogy. Like,
Yeah.
all three of them. I love all three of them. But yeah, Luke, I'm your father. I mean, there are movies like Mike, you mentioned earlier. There's movies that aren't even related to science fiction that still use that line as an homage to the Empire, the movie. So yeah, just fantastic. Great character development with Han, further developing what they had built in the first one, and Han and Leia and Luke, and it's just really, really good. So it's iconic. Yeah.
So a little bit of trivia, when Darth Vader gets out of the asteroid field to talk to the Emperor in Empire. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
that wasn't Ian McKellen.
Not at all.
That was the visual one of the visual supervisor's wife, and then they took like these chimpanzee eyes and like overdubbed it on her face to make it look evil. Yeah. So she's in this cape, and then it's using the visual director's voice. So it wasn't even Ian McKellen when he
That was one of the changes I did like that they did, and they put the real Palpatine in there in the re-releases for those.
Oh yeah.
McDermott. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And I'll tell you what, too, just one last thing with Empire. We also find out how much of a savage that Han Solo is in this movie.
Yeah.
I love you. I know. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
that's
seriously?
right.
Like, Han Solo is a savage, dude. This movie is, oh my God.
Yep. All right. So, JD, back to you.
All right.
Come on, Acolyte. Can't wait to tear this one
Oh,
up.
Rogue. Oh,
Oh,
Mandalorian.
nice.
Nice.
I would say one of my favorites. It's fun. It's a good show. I like the Grogu, and just like get to see a Mandalorian and kind of get more backstory on them a little bit. And I mean, season 1 is probably my favorite. I mean, I know we're not talking about season specifically, but I mean, overall, I think it's a good show, and it's done really well with merchandising and stuff too, with all the Grogu toys and
Mhm.
posters and everything. So, yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Okay. All right, Michael.
I would put The Mandalorian as one of my favorites. Definitely things that stick out to me for this. You know, the first season almost felt like a Western. You know, it felt
Yeah.
like a Western type movie.
Mhm.
And I was cool with that. It's like you're seeing a Star Wars Western at this point. In season 2, you're gonna bring Luke Skywalker back. Are you freaking serious?
No.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite. You're gonna give him his moment after you had him drinking green milk on freaking, you know, we'll get to those movies later on. And Ryan Johnson's pile that he did, that even Mark Hamill's like, nah, that ain't even Luke Skywalker, man. That's his cousin. You know, like,
Jake.
yeah, dude, I have to put this in that. I think that Luke Skywalker coming back pretty much not only broke me, but I feel like it broke the internet when that happened. You know,
Mhm.
because they were so subtle about it. Hey, that's an X-wing class. Oh, what's one X-wing gonna do? Wait a minute. This person has a robe on. And once you saw that lightsaber was green, you knew. You
Mhm.
knew who it was.
And the
And
black glove on the
yeah,
hand. On the
I don't
hand.
know about you guys, but that moment was like, oh my God, I got to see his face. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, like I was no longer Michael, the 44-year-old at the time. You know, I was a little kid again, you know,
Mhm.
bouncing in my chair. Like, this
Yeah.
is Luke Skywalker. This is Luke Skywalker. And it was. And then R2 comes rolling up. And it's like, not emotions. Yes, I was very happy, but it almost had me in tears
Yeah.
because what happened in the movies was like a part of my childhood dying, the way Luke Skywalker was. But this was the Luke Skywalker that I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
And he went through and destroyed everything, you know, and he really made the Mandalorian and all the people he was with. You realize there's a tier level of people. You realize there's, you know, some are up here when you talk about like Luke and, you know, them, and then you got like the Mandalorian people that are kind of like down here. And Luke definitely, I mean, look how long it took, you know, the Mandalorian to kill that one robot, and Luke goes through a whole squad of them like it's absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but the emotions that gave me when Luke came back, it's second to none, you know, with these Disney shows. Like, it was just amazing. So I have to put this as one of my favorites.
Okay. Kyle.
Oh, The Mandalorian. The first 2 seasons are my favorite. It was like a gritty Star Wars Western, like Michael said. It was a gritty Western. It's the first Star Wars. It was amazing. We also got the late great Carl Weathers in there. That was cool to have him in there. You know, we got Cara Dune, you know, Gina's character. And I love the interaction with him and Grogu. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah. Grogu.
Grogu. Those were some of the amazing moments. It was just action packed. I still think it's definitely one of the strongest Star Wars television shows that they've done, especially the first 2 seasons. And you got to know that Boba Fett was alive. So
Yeah.
that was cool. That was quite the reveal. And then of course the Luke scene was just amazing. It was from beginning to end. The first 2 scenes was just awesome. What else could you say about the Mandalorian? It's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Cool. All right, Steve. You
Yeah,
just watched it,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I rewatched it. Yeah, I watched it when
okay.
it first. Well, I watched it when it first came out, and then I rewatched it again. The first 2 seasons. I'm halfway through the 3rd season, but I agree. The first 2 are really, man, they're really the bang for your buck, and one of my favorites for sure. and I'm so happy that Favreau is writing the movie, the full feature length movie, and I'm ready to see that one big time.
All right. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. It has it goes through this whole process of him finally getting to Mandalore and meeting Moff Gideon again. But is it Moff Gideon or is it a clone? We don't know. Hopefully we'll find out in the movie. So
yeah,
that was one of the things. And I just hope that it's the Mandalorian Grogu and not anybody else that's a Mandalorian that's going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be in the movie. It's just I hope they don't like put all the focus on somebody else besides Din Djarin and Grogu.
Yeah.
All right. So let me remove that. And it is Michael's turn.
Oh yeah, give me Acolyte, baby. Give it to me. You know you want to.
The Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh,
Well,
This is
that's
not my
episode
favorite.
9, right?
This is not my favorite
Yeah.
whatsoever. God, dude, how much time do we have? How long do you want your stream to be? I can tell you reasons why this is not my favorite, but I'll throw one of the reasons out there. Just one. You're telling me you got to know it's going to be good when I start with you. You're telling me.
Yeah, you got that old man saying.
You're going to sit there and tell me. Okay, so you're telling me that the whole premise of the Chosen One turning to the dark side was that he couldn't save Padme. And you're going to tell me Rey, that's been training for 5 minutes, can already heal things and do the things that Anakin was searching for the power to do, and he's the chosen one, but yet already off screen she learns how to Jedi heal stuff. And come on, guys, what are we doing here?
Well, maybe May and Osha helped her.
Oh no!
Can't wait to get into that one.
Oh no!
But this is just, you know what I mean? It's Disney doing Disney things. That's all I'm gonna say. There are so many things that could have made this so much better. I think that Rey as a character had a lot of potential. I think that the people who made the movie dropped the ball with this character. What a pile. I'm gonna put it as not my favorite. It really needs to go into the shoot fly boys, honestly. But there are things that I dislike even more than this, and that's the only thing keeping it out of the bottom tier. So not my favorite.
Okay.
Lightsabers look cool. I feel like I had to throw a positive in there somewhere, but their fighting abilities wasn't. It was horrible. None of them knew how to fight. Like, it was so bad. All right, sorry.
At the very end, when she activates her lightsaber with the one she created, it turns yellow,
and then she's gonna say Rey Skywalker. Really? You're a Skywalker now? You're just gonna throw that out there and decide it? Like you just adopted yourself into a family you don't belong
to. Yes, you could, because all the Skywalkers are dead.
So she's just basically name jacking is what she's doing. That's it. Like, she's not a Skywalker. Oh my god!
All of a sudden, Anakin's ghost shows up behind her, shaking his head no.
I just picture him in the Ahsoka show where he's like, wrong. You know what I mean?
Wrong.
Like, Rey Skywalker, wrong. You know what I mean? That's what I see, dude. Like, no.
All right, Kyle, what do you think?
Oh, it's not one of my favorites either. The only reason why they brought back Palpatine just to throw people in the seats, I still think he was dead, but that's their choice. Because he wasn't. That's the only reason why he was thrown in there, because Lucas said he was dead, and they were just using him just to put butts in the seats. That's all that was. And there was because they had shot. J.J. Abrams tried to fix the mess that was with Last Jedi, which I don't like either. This movie, there was, to me, things that were just wrong, even though it was great. A lot of these characters had potential, but there were so many bad decisions. How it ended, it was just bad writing, and I just didn't. like this movie at all. It's definitely not one of my favorites for sure. So
Okay. So it's not your favorite.
no.
All right, Steve.
Not my favorite as well. I have one particular movie I'm saving for the poop shoot. Um,
Oh yeah.
and
I've got a couple
Oh, yeah.
things I'm gonna throw in the poop chute here in a minute.
yeah, man, big time. So I will like you just said, J.J. Abrams, he tried, man. He tried to fix stuff, but it just was the damage was way too deep to fix it in one movie. So even despite him trying to do it, and I'll never understand this stupid move by Disney. If you're gonna hire JJ to start this trilogy, let him do the whole darn thing. It's like, really, seriously, you're gonna we're gonna let you start us off. Then Ryan Johnson's gonna come in with his vision, and then you can come back and finish the trilogy. Clearly they weren't on the same page. At least I like to believe that. And so, to me, that's a shame on you, Disney. So this movie is not my favorites, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not my favorite. It's teetering into the Shoot Flyboy, but there were a couple things in there I thought were okay. Like I said, when she created her lightsaber at the end, they said she used Luke and Leia's crystals to create her own lightsaber, and it looked pretty cool. I thought, but the thing that irked me the most is the writer of the Rise of Skywalker said JJ went in there after the fact and wrote all the stuff in about the Emperor. He just threw it in there. Yeah, he just threw it in there and decided to bring the Emperor back, which kind of like makes Darth Vader's, sacrifice meaningless, I guess.
Yeah.
So, so there's that. So it's not my favorite.
That sucks too, because it's you. Well, actually, I'm gonna save it for the movie that caused this shit show.
All right, JD.
Yeah, I'll have to say one of my favorites. I mean, if you can kind of like turn your brain off, there's like some parts that are like pretty like kind of cool, but I mean overall it was just kind of like trying to salvage what they could from it, and even then it didn't do a super great job. So yeah, I would say not one of my favorites.
Oh, okay, I thought you said one of my favorites at first.
No,
I was like, what?
Hey man, you like what you like, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was like, no judgment here, but I'm gonna get you at work. All right, so that's one of my favorites. Well, that's not it.
Yeah, that was it. Oh, wrong movie.
Yeah. Where'd it go?
Is it the
It's
very
fourth
last
from
one?
the right.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So that was Michael. You did that one first.
Maybe. I think I did.
Okay, Kyle, your turn.
Okay. Oh.
Rogue One.
Okay.
This is I think this is the strongest. But no, when it comes to Disney Star Wars, I think this is the strongest out of the bunch that they did with the movies. Rogue One, when I think Rogue One is definitely one of my favorites. I think it's the strongest out of the Disney Star Wars. When I first heard Donnie Yen was going to be in a Star Wars film, I was like, oh wow, this is going to be something to see. And I think his character was great. There's some really good characters. I loved how it's set up towards and how he got into the original Star Wars film. And then when I got to see Darth Vader do his lightsaber at the end, was just epic to see.
Mm-hmm.
Was so cool, and what a scene that was. There were some really good cinematic flying scenes in this. What an amazing movie! I think the direction's great. for sure. It's definitely the strongest out of the movies all the Star Wars movies that Disney did. So it's one of my favorites for sure.
All right, Steve.
Yeah. Which one are we on again?
We're on Rogue One.
Oh, Rogue One. That's right. That's right. Oh, yeah. I really liked Rogue One. I enjoyed it since the first time I ever saw it, and it felt like a Star Wars movie again.
Yeah.
And it really did. And it's the only time not to give a sneak peek, but it's the only time I don't mind seeing Andor on the screen. So, it was just the right amount of Andor and plot and all of that, and it was really good. So I'm putting it as one of my favorites.
Okay. All right. So for me, I thought it was good. I just at the very end, I was upset that. I mean, it would have totally, not had any coherency with Star Wars if they would have survived.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, they just passed all these like TIE fighters and stuff on the launch pad as they walk out to the beach to watch the whole planet blow up in their face. I would have jumped into a TIE fighter and taken off, to save myself. But you can't do that in order to maintain your linear congruency on the Star Wars timeline. So I'm gonna give it good, but it was, it kind of like leaned into one of my favorites, but I'm sticking with good. All right, JD.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I think I put it as good. I think I only watched it once when it came out in theaters, so I'm struggling to even remember a whole lot about it. But I do remember at the end, it kind of ended like right as where episode 4 would begin. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, I think it was good. I remember enjoying it at least. So
yeah.
Oh, I got to say one thing is I guess the reason I didn't like it is because I know everybody that you see basically is going to die.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right, Michael.
This is the way.
Is nobody going to talk about Vader's iconic walk down the hallway? Like we got all the way to me without anybody mentioning that.
We saved it for you.
That might have been the most badass scene in Star Wars history, man.
It's
like
awesome.
It's up there, man. Like that was amazing. Like that was absolutely amazing. I like what Steven said about the whole Andor thing. I do. This movie though, it made me like feel for like, believe it or not, the robot. You know what I mean? Like his that camaraderie that he had with that Imperial droid. It was good, man. This movie, it is one of my favorites. We got to see a lot of Darth Vader that we'd never seen before. We got to see Vader's castle on Mustafar, which was super cool, man. Like all that stuff. I love the fact that they brought Grand Moff Tarkington back. The way that they did it, like you could tell, that there was something off about him, but it wasn't so distracting that it took me out of the movie. So, and then you're gonna tell me that Mads Mikkelsen was in it as well, and dude, he's awesome. Like that dude is freaking awesome. He's freaking Hannibal Lecter. Like, yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites, and this is one of those movies that I wouldn't say I could watch every day, but if someone's like, hey, let's watch Rogue One, I'd be like, cool. It is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I haven't done a live watch of Rogue One. I should probably do that on my channel.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so Michael is one of your favorites.
Yes.
Kyle, was it you that spun?
Yeah.
Okay, it was one of your favorites. Steve's one of your favorites. So that's 3, and then Russell says one of his favorites. So it's going to go to one of the favorites.
Nice.
Rogue One.
All right. So, Steve, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Wow. Oh, is that the guy?
Yeah.
It's a lady.
It's actually a new person.
Oh, your favorite.
Oh, my favorite. Dude.
Let me lean
Oh.
back and put my feet up for this one.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody's getting into attack mode.
There we go.
Oh,
Everybody,
my gosh.
That spoils out.
It's our attack of the clones now. We're attacking it.
Man. So we see the end of Force Awakens, right? And there's Luke at the edge of the cliff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Literal cliffhanger. And I'm like, this next movie is going to be off the chain because Luke's going to train Rey. It's going to be fantastic. He'll be fighting the lightsaber. All this building up in my head. And then the travesty, the absolute devastation that is the last, what is this called? I don't remember the name. I blocked it out. Yeah, The Last Jedi. And we see Luke drinking nipple milk from some creature. And he refuses to train. He's a grumpy old man. He resembles nothing of Luke Skywalker that we know. And I'm like, who is the master of destruction that wrote this? And of course, we know who it is, Rian Johnson. And I say, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this guy's a closet Trek fan. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go sabotage Star Wars. Yeah, I'm going to ruin Star Wars because my loyalty is to Captain Kirk. Well, all I can tell you, man.
Fanboys.
Yeah, he's a Trekkie fanboy or something. All I can say is the word disappointment doesn't even come close to how I felt when this movie ended. I was like mad, frustrated, all those adjectives all at one time. And I said, you know, never again will I give this movie the benefit of my eyeballs.
Oh,
Ever.
you lied.
No, I haven't watched it again.
Oh, I thought you were going to rewatch
Force
it.
Awakens. I watched Force Awakens.
Oh.
Yeah, Force Awakens. I've started rewatching. I hadn't even finished it yet. But I'm not going to watch that movie again. And I don't care if I owned it, or if it was free. This movie's horrible. It betrays the legacy of Star Wars. It betrays the characters that we love. And we grew up, at least if you're in my age bracket, you grew up watching and loving, caring about. And the only one that gets any type of redemption arc is friggin' Superman Leia flying across in her Superman pose.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. And it's not enough, man. It's just not enough. So all I'm going to say is this needs to go into the poop chute, and never again will I watch this trash. I won't. So I'll stop there and give you guys time. I think I'm pretty clear on my feelings there, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the disappointment and the loss and anguish I felt when Luke disappears. It's like losing one of your best friends or somebody that you've liked for a long time, and all of a sudden, you know, they just die, and you know you'll never see them again unless they retcon this piece of garbage and they can bring him back. That and the part where Leia like is in deep space and all of a sudden she starts twitching and pulls herself back into the ship. You know, that was horrific. and then they had killed off Han Solo. I mean, well, that was Harrison Ford's choice. And
No,
so
that was the movie before that.
I know.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even in this movie. And they never had Luke, Leia, and Han together at one point.
Ever.
No, wasteful opportunity
in this series.
They were always separate.
So this is horribly. If there was some place to put them below the chute, I would put them below the chute.
Yeah.
So I just can't express myself how much I despise this movie. So
Yep.
Into the Chute's my choice. All right, JD.
Yeah, I want to say Into the Chute. I like we guys talking about it. I barely remember like what happened in this movie, but like, you guys are kind of refreshing me. So I remember like Luke dies, Leia dies, and then I remember they used like jump to hyperspace to go through another ship or something, and I don't know. It just wasn't very good. I think I really think about back to this movie and I'm like, what even happened in this movie? Like, it was just very unmemorable and disappointing. So yeah, I would put it in the chute.
I think it was the Rise of Skywalker when that Admiral, whatever her
was
name
it?
was, when she shot her ship through
Yeah,
the First Order's ships.
how come no one else thought of that?
That actually was one of my favorite spots in the whole movie when she did that. But
Really?
yeah,
No, that was this movie.
I thought it was the same scene as with Leia.
Yeah,
kind of.
because Leia was out of commission for being in space. That's why she was in charge. You were right. It is. the
oh,
one that
you
she
are
should-
right. Okay,
That's like the one highlight of this movie.
okay, that's the only thing I like in that whole
Yeah,
movie.
that's the only thing I remember.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Michael.
This movie has changed my whole mood on this stream. Like, this is such trash. Just stamp it and throw it in the fucking chute and let's go on to something else. Like, I could sit here and bash this movie for hours, but I don't even want to give it the effort.
I know. I'm with you. It's like,
It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
All right, Kyle.
I need
but
a
not
bucket
me.
if I want to talk about this. It deserves to go as a shoot. It is a trashy film. It's definitely it's not even a Star Wars film to me at all. It's just trash. And what Ryan Johnson did to it is just it's still
yeah.
unforgiving. I'm not.
Mhm.
I just cannot do. And what they did to Luke when Luke, even the fight scene between him and Kylo Ren was sad. And then the way he goes out, yeah, they really just disrespected that character.
It wasn't even a fight. He didn't even
Yeah.
turn on his lightsaber. He
No,
just like
yeah, it
ducked
was
him
a
the whole
whole-
time.
Yeah, it was just a
Yeah.
horrible fight. Just ducked. It was horrible.
Exactly.
Well, he
Yeah, it
couldn't
was-
turn it on. He was a hologram.
He was a hologram.
So he,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have touched.
He could
No.
have
Like,
turned on his
lightsabers wouldn't have
Yeah.
did anything.
he could have turned on his holographic lightsaber.
Yeah, but it would have just went through his. Like, the fact that he stood
Yeah.
there and brushed his
Ah.
shoulder up. Come on. Oh my
Well, he was doing
Yeah.
it to give them time to get away.
Yeah.
You know, everybody that was in
Yeah.
there. He was trying to sell it. And if you're going to sell it, you need to do it 100%. And he didn't do it 100%. He was just sitting there ducking. And he,
Yeah.
you know, he could have like turned on his lightsaber just to make Kylo
Dude.
poop his pants.
Yeah.
I'm like, what it should have been was Luke alive, and he's down there with his saber, and he's using his force powers, and he's friggin' destroying people. And there's machines that whatever they're called, they were walking on.
And
I mean, yeah, just crushing them, dude.
yeah.
I'm like-
Especially,
Anyway, yeah.
What
Go
the
ahead.
hell was that land?
especially,
Go ahead. Sorry, Kyle.
especially you made us wait and see him towards the end of Force Awakens, and that's all you do with him in The Last Jedi. Get at it. Like, really crazy.
Mhm.
So
What the
stupid.
hell was up with that land? Like, they drive this and it turned red. Like, well,
Yeah.
I thought this was Hoth when they first got there. Like, oh,
Me too.
we're back at home. No, we're not. Why is it red? Like,
It's some kind of like salt crystals that
When-
turn red.
when Family Guy is more logical than a movie, you have a problem. Okay. Like, do you guys remember in what was the second Family? Was it something Dark Side?
I think
Where
so, yeah.
they were getting in the ship and Dak's like, I feel like I take on the whole empire myself. And he jumps out and he's like, don't worry, y'all. Dak's got this. You know, so Dak flies the little snow speeder up in front of the Imperial cruiser. And he's like, prepare to suck some Dak. You know, and there's just one laser bolt that blows it up. And then in this
Oh.
movie, you have Poe fly up just like Dak. And it's like, it should have been one laser shot.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
should have been dead. Like, there's
Mhm.
when Family
Yep.
Guy makes more sense than your movie, there's a problem.
Something wrong.
There is a problem.
Yeah. So much unneeded stuff going on.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
It's funny how the one movie can change the whole mood of the whole chat.
I know. It's
We were
like,
having
oh.
fun until we got to this movie.
It was a good one.
All right, so
If it lands on the Acolyte spin again, we can't back to back these. Oh, there we go.
Oh, here we
there
go.
you
Gets back
go.
to some really happiness.
All right, so I'm in a conundrum here because the Return of the Jedi was a great movie, but I don't know if it's iconic. I mean, the fight scene between Luke and Darth Vader are it's the iconic scene and him facing the Emperor, and you know what? I'm gonna go iconic. I just gotta go iconic. You know, them blowing up the Death Star and the fight and Jabba's palace and the Starlight Pit. Yeah, I gotta go iconic.
Yeah,
All right.
man.
All right, JD.
Yeah, I would say iconic. I mean, it's part of the originals, and I mean, until I don't know, like whenever the Force Awakens came out, it was what we thought was the end of the Star Wars. There was peace in the galaxy, and that was it. Like, so we thought it kind of put a bow on everything, and that was it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say it's iconic.
All right, Michael.
Return of the Jedi, one of my favorites. I'm gonna go on the opposite side of the conflict that you had, Mike. I'm gonna go with one of my favorites. I think there was a lot of things. Empire was so much better than this, and to put them in the same, like, there's nothing wrong with Return of the Jedi. I loved it. One of my favorites. I can watch it anytime. But for me to put it on the same level of Empire is blasphemy. So I will definitely have to go with one of my favorites.
Yeah, I just think the only thing that kind of like is off kilter for me is the Ewoks. If he wouldn't have put the Ewoks on there, it would have been.
I mean, there's a whole thing with C-3PO being a god. No, I wasn't feeling all of that. Like,
he did it for the children.
Like, come on, man. Like, no,
please.
Like, it just doesn't measure up to Empire for me. So it would be unfair for me to put it in iconic.
All right, Kyle.
It's one of my favorites. I still enjoy this film. It brought the whole trilogy together in amazing stuff. And it was great to see, how they were able to save Han. That was very cool. Of course, the iconic scene with Leia. We all know that. And the ending scene, of course, the iconic fight between Darth Vader and the Emperor were so cool. And he tried to save his father and everything. If there wasn't certain things in there, it would be iconic for me as well. But it's still one of my favorites, though. It's one of my favorites. I still enjoy it, but there's things that just bring me down just a little bit. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. You're the deciding factor.
For me, I'm torn, man. I'm torn, Mike. I understand the struggle between iconic and one of my favorites, but in my mind, all three, I think I even said this earlier, all three of the originals are iconic in my book. So I'm going to say iconic because it's what a great ending to that story, that trilogy. And
we thought wrapped up.
It wrapped up great. And, the Ewoks are annoying, of course, but George Lucas knew how to get the money for merchandising. You go after the kids. You always do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understood it, but I would like to have seen it be all Wookiees.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. Anyway, despite the Ewoks, it's iconic for me.
And I think an iconic scene too is when he gets to see his dad as the Force Ghost finally.
Oh man,
that was a cool scene to see.
What, him or the young?
Oh, when he gets to see his young father, Anakin, not the one they changed it to Hayden Christian, but when you first see that, but that it's his father in general.
Yeah,
it's a cool scene.
That is cool, and I hate now that when I watch it on Disney Plus, it's friggin' friggin' Anakin. What's his name?
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen now is standing there. And I'm like, dude. I mean, I get it now because there's prequels, but that whoever that actor was that had that great scene with Luke in the Death Star when he took his mask off. I mean, that poor guy. I don't know if he's still in the Union or anything, but his
He's
royalties
probably
is just
deceased.
well, okay. Well, his family's losing royalties because of putting Hayden in on that scene. So anyway,
Hayden's making bank.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
that's not the only person they pulled from the film either. Like, you got to think, like, the guy that voiced Boba Fett, like his voice was gone too. They used the other guy's voice.
That's right.
For that. I don't know. For me, the end of this just felt like a Muppets movie. Like it ended on the song "Nup Nup," and they were all smiling and hugging each other like they were posing for a picture, and that was the end of Star Wars. And I'm just like, look, okay, like,
well, the lead singer from Toto wrote it, man. You gotta love that.
It's like, come on, guys, like, what are we doing here? Like, you're gonna end on a smile like it's a sitcom, like it's no way. What was the count on that one?
It was 3 iconic, 2 favorites, and 1 good from Russell.
Okay.
All right. Iconic it is.
All right. So that was me. JD, it's your turn.
Oh, okay.
Getting closer to the end.
Yeah.
Oh.
Andor.
Boy, the
There you
Acolyte's
go.
just taking its time to come out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
It's hiding, dude. He doesn't want it to come out.
because it knows what we're gonna say.
Exactly.
Now I'll get it because I've said that. Willed it to happen.
All right, Andor. I can't really give it a fair rating because I haven't seen it all the way through.
Okay.
I just kind of was bored with the first, I don't know,
It
couple
doesn't get any
episodes.
better. Yeah.
I mean, when I see comments, people are like, "This is the best Star Wars show that's out." Like,
Oh, give me a bucket.
but I don't know. I mean, so since I haven't seen it all the way through, I mean, I should maybe try to give it a chance and watch it all the way through. But since I haven't seen it all the way through, I'll put it as not one of my favorites.
Okay.
From the 2 episodes I've seen.
All right, Michael.
This was middle of the pack for me. Like,
Okay.
It didn't do anything special. It didn't do anything horrible. It was just kind of there. You know what I mean? Like, I probably should rewatch it because I watched it when it first came out, and I was just like, it's okay. It doesn't follow the same beaten path as the other Star Wars movies do.
No.
And I think that's one of the things that, turns a lot of people off to it. Because it did me a little bit, like I think that Rogue One helps it out a little bit. You know what I mean? But for me, I'll just be short with this one and say middle of the pack.
Okay. Kyle?
Not one of my favorites. It's very boring and slow, and I think it's the weakest out of the Disney TV shows that they've done. It's definitely one of the weakest for sure.
Okay.
I could not. It was hard to get through. I was right there with Steven. It was hard to get through it. It's definitely weak writing in there, and I think it's just too bad because they could have been great. There was so many stuff they could have done with this. Especially, it just wasn't one of my favorites for sure. It's definitely one of the weakest Disney TV shows for Star Wars.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not one of my favorites. It's tempting to put it in the chute, honestly. I'm really close. I'm really close to just dropping it right down in the chute. The only, oh man, oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's the worst, in my opinion, of the series. I think even the Acolyte scores higher points because at least there's some action in that one. There are some lightsaber fights, and even though the writing is not good, but Andor is literally like I'm watching a political show where it's just all dialogue and some of these. I mean, it took me three tries to get through it. And I finally did it, but it's like, he's talking to his mom and this one officer, right? And the mom's like, yeah, she's just nagging on him. I'm like, what am I watching here? It's like I'm on some kind of daytime soap opera or something. I couldn't deal with it. I was so tired of that officer with no confidence and his mom always on him. And then you got Andor, So anyway, I guess I need to make a pick. You know what, guys? I hate to do it, but Andor is going in the chute. I got to do it. Yep. Flush it.
Yep.
All right. So for me, it was definitely not one of my favorites. Like Steve, I stopped watching it 3 times and had to come back 3 times to just finish it up because I was determined to watch it and finish it up.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like Star Wars at all to me.
No.
Yeah, the whiny guy got on my nerves.
Yeah.
With his mom. He was always sitting around eating his Empire Cocoa Puffs.
That's right.
And,
yes.
And and then that blonde-headed girl who was working for the Empire was always, and Andor was always. It seemed like he's always walking somewhere in the muddiest situation where it's like it's just rained. No matter where he's at, no matter what planet he's on, he's always walking away or walking towards something it's all wet. And I'm just like, what? Come on, let's do something Star Wars like. But yeah, mine is, I'm going to put it, it's not my favorite. So I think one for the shoot. What'd you put it as, Michael? Middle of the pack?
Middle of the pack, yeah.
So Russell put it as middle of the pack too. JD put it not his favorite. And then Kyle, what'd you put it as?
Not my favorite.
Okay, so it's not the favorite.
And I don't have a problem with it being there either. You know what I mean? It's not great.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't throw it in the chute because I think that if Rian Johnson's film was an 8-episode thing, you know how many times it would take me to finish that?
Or never finish that.
We'd still be trying to finish it now.
Yeah, it would take us years.
I made it to episode 4, and I think I made it the furthest out of all of us. Guess what, guys? It sucked.
And you know what kills me? What kills me is this series is, to me, and a lot of people, is so boring and horrific, and they wouldn't do a second season of Obi-Wan.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Wow. So no more Obi-Wan. I didn't know they said no more.
Yeah, they said they put out a DVD series called the final series, or
Oh man.
So all right, who was it? JD that just had Andor?
Yeah. Come on, Acolyte. I willed it to happen. Just go ahead and give it to me.
All right.
Here it comes.
Boy, we saw this one.
There you go.
JJ.
Force Awakens.
For this one, for me, it's middle of the pack. It's basically a carbon copy of the original. They just said what worked for us in the original Star Wars. Let's do it again, but let's add stuff to it. To me, it was really nothing special. I didn't hate it. You know what I mean? Like when I left, I was like, yeah, it wasn't terrible. You know what I mean? It was okay. I'm teetering between middle of the pack and good with it, but the fact that I feel like it's a carbon copy, I want to keep it in middle of the pack. There were some things that made me laugh in the movie. I'm not even gonna lie. When Han Solo and Finn were there, and he was like, "I was in sanitation." You know what I mean? And Han Solo's like, "Sanitation?" You know, like you don't know anything. But killing off Han Solo, granted, it was Harrison Ford's choice. He said it for years before he went in there. You kind of knew it was coming. When the trailer came out, and it was. That broke the internet, man. Like literally, when I think of breaking the internet with a trailer, that trailer did it. When Han Solo and Chewie show up, and Han Solo's like, "Chewie, we're home." You haven't seen Han Solo in that form since Return of the Jedi. You know, Han Solo has like a certain smirk to his face, and it was there, man. Like it felt like Han Solo. There is not a movie that I wanted to be good more than this one. You know, I wanted this to be amazing, to see them all back together, because ahead of time you knew Carrie Fisher was in it, you knew Mark Hamill was in it, you knew that Harrison Ford was in it, and you're just like, the gang's back together. We're gonna do this one more time, and that didn't happen. You know, it didn't. Some of the stuff with Ray, like I was digging it, I was really getting into it. But other things, man, it just wouldn't let me love this movie. And I think that has to do with, we've seen this before. I understand what you're doing, but you know, here it is. So yeah, I'm gonna go middle of the pack on this one. I am bouncing it back and forth, so if it ends up in either, I'd be fine. But put me down for middle of the pack.
Okay. All right, Kyle.
Mine's middle of the pack too, because you know I wanted this to be really, really good. We were so hyped to hear that the original 3 was coming back, but like we said, unfortunately, they never had the original 3 together ever. Wasted opportunity, and Luke was towards the end. It was great to see Han Solo and Chewie, but the way I saw it though, it's like they brought Han Solo down to about where he was in the first original instead of Return. That's how I saw it anyway. But this, I thought, then I heard J.J. Abrams was going to direct a Star Wars film, which was very cool because I knew he had success with the Star Trek series. So I thought, okay. But to me, it was still, they had the right ingredients, but they just wasted a lot of them. And it was really disappointing. You know, Force Awakens, because it just felt like we've seen all this before, and they just used the characters right to where I wanted. And then what Disney calls their so-called Sith is just like, really, that's what you're gonna call them? But
the Knights of Ren.
Knights of Ren, it's just a weak name, to be honest, for their new powerful Sith they got going on. And I thought the cast was perfect, but was wasted in a lot of the scenes, and it could have been great. There were some cool scenes in there, but it's just stuff I expected Han Solo to die, but it's not the way I would have done it. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Not the way I would have done it. I think, you know, Adam Driver's a good actor. But yeah, Force Awakens was just basically what we saw before, nothing new. You know what I mean? It was just like they relied on their nostalgia part instead of pushing the series forward, in my opinion. But and it's not really a good nostalgia either. So that's definitely middle of the pack for me.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it middle of the pack. Of the trilogy, it's the only one that I find any entertainment value in watching. Honestly, so I'm gonna say middle of the pack because I'm not gonna rank it with Andor. It's better than Andor, so I can't. Yeah, there's no. I can't put it there. So I'm gonna say middle of the pack.
It definitely is the strongest out of those 3 for sure.
I agree.
All right, I guess I'm going to rank it middle of the pack too. The only thing, I mean, there's a couple of things that I didn't like about it, but the main thing I focused on was them killing Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Han Solo, you don't kill. He's like the immortal gambler, hustler, you know, grifter. He deserved to go out, you know, into the sunset, you know, not dying, but just going away into the sunset. And I think them killing him like that, because he came in and he wanted the money, so they could have decided how he goes out, you know, him, I don't know, going into coma or I don't know, something, but you know, you just killed him off. That's like a finality that you can't come back from, you know, unless you're a clone. So yeah, I'll give it middle of the pack. I was going to go with not my favorite, but I'm going to go with middle of the pack.
let me just say one thing, and just to piggyback off you a little bit, Michael. When Han Solo died, like it was very impactful on me, and I think the thing that hurt the worst was hearing Chewie scream when it fucking happened.
Mhm.
Like that literally broke my freaking heart, dude. And when I walked out of there, it's like, well, fuck, kill off Luke, kill off Leia, hell, kill off Marty and Doc from Back to the Future at this point, because anyone that has any like we all of our 80s heroes that walked off into the sunset is winners. Now Han Solo's a piece of crap. You know what I mean? Now Princess Leia is not the same. Now Luke is a freaking troll living on an island. You're telling me that these people who took down the Empire and saved the galaxy are just... I think Leia was the only one that was somewhat respectable out of the whole thing. You know what I mean? And they're just gone at this point. Like, this is what happens, kids, when you work hard and work together and save it. Guess what? It's all just going to fall apart at some point. You know, like, what kind of message is that to our childhood innocence that's still in our... We may all be 40 and 50 and 60 years old at this point, but there's still that little kid that goes to see Star Wars. You know, you're still in that mindset when you go in to watch this. I have a hard time trying to watch Star Wars movies and looking at them like other films, because it's not me watching it, Michael, the content creator. It's me as 8, 9 years old that's sitting there smiling at the TV, wanting to see Han, Luke, and Leia do it one more time. Show this new generation what our generation can do. Oh, we can just get old and die just like everybody else. You know, and it just... I don't know, guys. Maybe it's me getting older and looking at stuff in a different way, but it just hurt, man. To hear Chewie scream like that was just like tears, man. I literally had tears come out of my eyes watching that in the theater.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. All right, JD.
Yeah, I'll put it. I was gonna wrap it up, put it in the middle of the pack. I watched it with my dad and grandpa in the theaters, and when we walked out, my grandpa was like, "That was episode 4 all over again." So, but like, I had throw a little bit of comedy in there, made it good. I would say, like, kind of the letdown was we thought there was gonna be this new big bad Snoke, and then they just kind of killed him off right away, which was kind of like, oh well, that was he was just kind of a nothing. So I wish they would. They had potential to like make it a good trilogy, and it was just all downhill from there. So, yeah, middle of the pack.
I think BB-8 was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, the little soccer ball type.
Yeah.
Droid. Yeah.
I thought he was cool.
Okay. Whose turn is it now?
The
I
thing
think it's Kyle's, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it's Kyle's.
got it.
I think that was on me.
All right. Come on, Acolyte.
Give me Acolyte. Probably will.
There it is.
All right,
Oh wow!
There you go.
Wow. You know when
I get to go last on this one. Oh, it's so...
make me start. Okay. So when I first heard the idea that they were going to do set before Phantom Menace, way before it, I got excited for that. But the execution of this show didn't turn out the way I wanted it to be. There's so many answers about this movie that some of the choices throughout this TV show, this just didn't sit well with me. You know, I think it started off right, but it just, as the episodes go, it just kept getting bad, and there were certain things in there that just didn't fit in some of the choices. Acolyte is really, really bad, and they could have did so much amazing stuff to show what it was like in the Jedi Hunt so many years before the Phantom Menace. It would have been cool. And then we get a little, you get the little tease, the little thing at the end where it's supposed to be Yoda, but doesn't say, you don't hear anything. And that's how it ends and everything. So yeah, Acolyte was a cool premise. This bad execution. It's definitely a really bad Star Wars show for sure. And it's definitely, for me, it's in the shoots, because I'll let you guys finish, because Acolyte just didn't sit well for me. So
okay,
it's in the shoots for me.
All right, Steve, how about you?
Yeah, it's in the chute for me.
Okay.
Writing was terrible. Lack of coherency in some of this stuff. We've got is it Plagueis hiding out in the cave,
Yeah.
being a creeper,
The cave creeper.
a cave creeper.
Creeper.
I mean, there's just so much on this series that I just felt like they weren't making sense. There's just too many situations and plot lines that I don't think were addressed. And yeah, they're hoping for season 2 probably. Well,
Mhm.
I hope they enjoy it because I
Yeah.
don't think I'm watching it. So yeah, it's in the shooter. It was a real disappointment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's teetering between not my favorite and Into the Chute. I want to. I think for Andor, it had no action. This had a lot of action. I mean, episode 5 was probably the highlight of it for me when they were all fighting dark teeth. So
When the trees fell the wrong way.
yeah,
after being cut
exactly.
by the lightsaber.
He was using the Force, man.
Yeah.
And you got to see a Wookiee fight, with a big tree trunk lightsaber. So I'm going to put it as not my favorite. JD?
Yeah, I'll agree. Not my favorite. It had like some good moments with Darth Dentures and like the cortosis metal on his helmet and like he was pretty kind of brutal. I mean, the way he killed that Padawan and everything was and so I mean those parts were good, but then like there was a bunch of other stuff that was very just, even if you don't know much about Star Wars, it was kind of weird, but if you have a lot of Star Wars knowledge, it really just messes it up for you. So
I loved it when the witches were singing, though. I mean, 1, 2, many,
The floor is yours, Michael.
All right, Michael.
This show sucks. Like, there is not a chute deep enough and far enough to throw this down. Like, it basically just took everything that Star Wars was and tried to change it. Like, first of all, you're gonna have the balls to put Plagueis in something, and you're gonna do it that way. Like, are you freaking serious? Like, come on. Like, there's so many things with this. All the Jedis in this look like low budget Jedis, like straight to DVD Jedis. Like, there was nothing that even looked good. And
Timu Jedi.
It's just, God, it was so bad. Like, you can go back to the very first episode to where, she's trying to kill the Jedi in the little cantina or whatever. All these people are attacking her and the Jedi's just standing there watching her kill everything. No, that's not what Jedi's do. Like, the fact that it became a kung fu movie. It's like, no, this isn't a kung fu movie. God, there's just so much with this, and I'm gonna get all worked up if I really get into it.
The thing that I didn't understand is she kept telling the Jedi when she was fighting him, she's like, Jedi don't draw their weapon unless they're gonna, kill somebody or I don't know. And I'm like, that's wrong, because Obi-Wan did it in Tatooine when he cut off that guy's arm, and they did it all the time. So
and the thing too with this is God, I've even lost my train of thought. There's so many things in my head right now. Like, there's so many, but the biggest thing for me is I felt like Disney was like, you have your chosen one. Well, guess what? We have 2, and they were before him. Mm-hmm. So it's better. And all the things that defy logic in this, we talked about Princess Leia floating through space. How about something catching on fire in space? Or how about the bricks burning on the building? Like, there are so many things in this that just made me want to throw up. Like, this is what Star Wars has become. It's almost become
theory.
It's almost become a battle at Disney to see how many things that they can put their agenda into and mess up what has already been established. I mean, we talked about, what's his name being in, talking in the prequels, like the Sith hasn't been seen for a millennia. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then he's in this, walking around like, Well, it could be, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are we freaking doing here? Every episode I watched of this made me madder than the last one I watched. And I think that the finale was like the final nail in the coffin for me. I was so glad when this was over. I never want to see a sequel to it. I don't see how there can be. I mean, if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores on this show, the audience will tell you alone. You know, not that I always go by those, but I mean, there's so many people that say, "Hey, this sucks," and most of them are Star Wars fans. You know, it's almost like you had your three types of Star Wars fans. You had your OG Star Wars, you know, trilogy fans, you had your prequel fans, and then you even had the younger generation that loved the sequel series. You know, and all of us would jab at each other, and I don't think that there's too many of any of those three groups that love the Acolyte. You know, there are some out there, but it's almost been a way of unifying, you know, that those fan bases to be like, hey, guess what, guys, these suck. You know, when the prequel series came out and the OGs, we used to go back and forth, you know, like, no, this is better, no, this is better. And then the sequel series came out and it was like, well, now we're together and we hate this guy over here. You know, that's kind of how the fandom is. But yeah, drop it in the chute, man. As a matter of fact, you could probably just leave it in a little selection thing just so we know that it's deep down in the chute.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take that off. All right. We're down to 3. So it is Steve.
Oh.
All right.
Ooh, Solo.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Solo
Well,
Cup.
Solo, the movie. We're talking about the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Solo. He gave us some background. Obviously, you got to see how he met Lando, how he got the Millennium Falcon, and I enjoyed the movie. I've only seen it once, but that's not because I didn't like it. It's just I just haven't got back around to it. But I give it. Probably Solo would be. I'm gonna say Solo was good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, it wasn't like outrageously fantastic, and and to me it wasn't like horrible. It was good, and I liked Woody Harrelson in his part, you know, and
Yep.
yeah, I mean, they were supposed to do a 3-part series movies for this, but you know, people kind of like panned it, and so they decided not to do it. So, JD, what do you think?
I actually haven't seen this. I don't know why I haven't seen it. I just never got around to watching it. So, I mean, I've heard that, like, kind of like what you said, it's good and nothing super special about it. So, I'll just give it kind of a default score and put it as middle of the pack.
Okay. All right. Michael?
I think it was good. I don't think it's one of my favorites, but you know, it's something I own digitally. I probably watched like 2 or 3 times. Things that stuck out to me in this was one, I got to see the Mother of Dragons in Star Wars. Man, I love her so much.
Amelia
Amelia
Clark? Yeah.
Like I do. I just have a soft spot for her. Like she's freaking awesome. And then the reveal at the end where you've got Darth Maul.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, hell yeah, man. Like Maul's here. He's got the metal legs. And you know, if you watch the Clone Wars, you know, he's there, man. And it's just like they used Ray Park for the body, but they used the voice from the Clone Wars. You know, so it was so cool. Yeah, to create that consistency. And it was just awesome, man. It was awesome. I was definitely disappointed that there wasn't a sequel because I was hoping to see more of Darth Maul in live action. Maybe we got some dual-ended lightsaber spins, and I'm sure Ray Park was disappointed too. But yeah, so I'll put it in good.
All right, Kyle.
Mine's good. I thought the casting was great. It was a lot of fun. And it was cool. I know I know Ron wasn't the original director because they had fallen out with the other directors, but it was so cool to see Ron Howard direct the Star Wars film. That was so cool. They brought him in.
Yeah.
That was cool. And what's interesting, Emilia Clarke's character was Han's first relationship, and that I think this is what impacted his relationship later on with Leia that comes to come around. So it was a great film. I wish we got to see more, but unfortunately we don't. But it was a fun one for sure. So it's good.
And we got to see the Kessel Run in this one, correct?
Yeah.
We did. And the space monsters.
Yeah.
All right. So basically everybody said good except for JD. Did you say good or what did you say?
I said middle of the pack just because I hadn't
Oh,
seen
okay.
it.
All right. So that was Steve. It's my turn.
Yep.
All right.
Which one?
Oh, you know what?
Phantom Menace. Look at that.
All right. Phantom Menace. Let me The Phantom Menace. I'm gonna put. It was when it came out. We hadn't seen anything Star Wars in like over 15 years, basically, and so everybody was hyped. There was so much hype for this movie to come out, and I love Liam Neeson in his role. Little Anakin was okay, and Darth Maul, the iconic scene. I'm gonna have to put it as good. How about you, JD?
This one has a soft spot for me just because it's the first one I ever saw in theaters. So like I was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. So like I like Jar Jar Binks because it was kind of catered towards like my age group at the time. I dressed up as Jar Jar Binks for Halloween one year. And it's just seeing like being a kid, seeing all the lightsabers and the lightsaber fight. So I thought it was pretty good, and I still enjoy watching it when I do rewatch it. So I'll put it as one of my favorites.
What year did Phantom Menace come out? Was it 99?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have been 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Return of the Jedi came out in '83, so that was 16 years later.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Michael, what do you think?
Phantom Menace, I put it as good. Because it's not really one of my favorites, but Phantom Menace for me, dude. We talked a little bit about it backstage, and I don't want to, just the lightsaber scene, epic.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The lightsaber battle, freaking epic, man. The beginning. When they're trying to do the negotiations, you were right, Master. These were some short negotiations. You know what I mean? Like you get that, and I thought that was cool. You get to see their force speed running down the hallway.
Yeah,
it's like, why don't you guys use that shit more? You know what I mean? Like, and just that whole sequence where Qui-Gon sticks his lightsaber through that door, and that's the first time you hear the Star Wars music. That dun dun. It's just like, oh my god, this is so awesome. But there are a lot of things in there that are not so great. So I don't feel comfortable putting it in one of my favorites. So I think good is a great spot for it, although it has very iconic scenes in it. But as a movie as a whole, I want to go good. Darth Maul is probably one of the best villains of all time. Like he's freaking amazing. But yeah, as a movie itself, I'm going to go with good.
Okay. Steve? Kyle, sorry.
So thank goodness I seen the original trilogy before Phantom Menace. So I already loved Star Wars before this. So it is good. I think Liam Neeson was awesome as Qui-Gon. The dude with the fates when that door is open. What else can you say? I love the fact that they actually show that the Jedi in their prime, so it's more fast paced in the fight scenes. That was very cool. I do like the pod racing scenes. Those were a lot of fun. Cool. And that was great. And Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan was perfect. I can look past Jar Jar Binks and still enjoy this film. But This still has its problems. It does have its problems, but I enjoy it. But to me, it's good because it it's really good. So.
Hey, Michelle, welcome to the show.
Hey, Michelle.
We're just almost done. We got two more after this one. We're talking about the Phantom Menace. So, Kyle, you said good or one of your favorites?
Good.
Good. And Steve, the Phantom Menace. He must be talking to somebody. So Russell said iconic. JD said one of his favorites. And then Kyle, Michael, and myself said good. So it should go.
Hey,
good.
I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry. For Phantom Menace, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna put the Phantom Menace as good.
Good. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Two more left.
2 left.
JD?
Ahsoka or Book of Ahsoka.
Looks like a Pokeball.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Ahsoka, I'll say. I'd say it's good. I'm having trouble kind of remembering a whole lot of it, but I would say it's good. From what I remember, there was some good action and the good lightsaber stuff, and it kind of had some moments where it bridged the gap between the Clone Wars and live action, which was really cool to see. So that makes, I would say it's good. Yeah.
Okay. Michael?
Hate me all you want, but this is one of my favorites, and I'm gonna tell you why. I loved Rebels. I loved Rebels so much. Seeing Ahsoka Tano do her thing, seeing her go from Ahsoka the Gray to Ahsoka the White. That episode 5 is a banger. It's like a banger of all time. Like, I absolutely love it. I was a kid again, smiling. Not even that I was a kid when I saw the stuff, there. Seeing Hayden come back, and you saw him come back as Anakin. Like that look, man, and to see him go toe-to-toe with Ahsoka, to see him in that relationship being as solid as it was in live action was amazing to me. Some of the visuals during that episode of him like walking, you see the clouds around him and you get that flash of him as Vader.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And to see him in the Clone Wars outfits going through battles, and she's like, Master, this is the Clone Wars. And he turns around like, yeah, you know what I mean? It was Hayden playing the part of the Clone Wars version of Anakin, and it was so good to see. We got to see Rex. I mean, all these things with so many emotions tied to this for me. It's one of my favorites. I can watch this series over and over again. I know that some people didn't like the way Ahsoka was at the beginning, but again, you have to think, just like Obi-Wan, the trauma that she has been through. She's lost her master. She's lost all of her friends. She's lost the Jedi. She's lost everything that she's ever known that was ever good to her. If you go back to the Clone Wars, she was betrayed by the Jedi Council. There are so many things that happened through Order 66 that made her the way that she was. And a lot of people had a problem with that, but I definitely saw what was going on with her, and for her to get that redemption, there's something about a redemption arc that I love so much. And I think it's something that's lost today. I don't think that people give people time to be redeemed. They're just quick to judge and be like, oh no, this person's trash. Look, we all make mistakes. We all go through things. Give these people time for redemption, because redemption is one of the best stories that there are. And I feel like with Ahsoka, we got a great tale of redemption, and what it took for her to get there was I absolutely loved it. I did. So does it have flaws? Yes, it does. I recognize all those flaws, and I love it anyway. So one of my favorites for Ahsoka.
Okay. Kyle.
Awesome. How do I follow that?
I'm just very passionate. Some people call it psychotic. I like to call it passionate.
Michael, I'm only teasing you anyway. It's all good. It's all good. I love it. So mine's good though. I thought the casting for Ahsoka was perfect. It was great to see that Ahsoka got her own series, and I thought it was definitely one of the most stronger TV shows for Star Wars. And the cast was great. I thought the sequences were great. It was great to see Hayden Christensen. Yes, to follow off what Michael said, Clone Wars, Anakin. That was awesome to see, and it was a good show, really good show. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's good for me.
Okay, Steve.
Okay. Well,
Talk about
I mean,
Ahsoka.
we're talking about Ahsoka. Yeah, yeah. I liked Ahsoka. You know, I enjoyed. I think I came in. What was it, about halfway through, and we watched it together. Remember, every week,
Mm-hmm.
live with a lot of you guys on the panel, and
Yeah.
that was fun. And you know, I like the Blue Man. You know, he's
Thrawn, yeah.
you know booking a gig soon in Vegas, the Blue Man Group or whatever. But yeah, he was. I liked him as an antagonist. Wasn't a big fan of the witches, but you know, it's fine. You know, it's not like a turn off or anything. But
Yeah.
but I would rank Ahsoka series as good. Definitely
Okay.
good. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with good. Also, I had really high hopes. I thought it would be like, it had some good parts. The part where Sabine gets skewered with the lightsaber. I thought I thought she was gonna die, and they were able to bring her back. And also, I had hyped up the series so much in my head that the last episode, just even though it wasn't bad, it just fell flat for me, because I had hyped it up so big. I thought there were going to be like big reveals and all these other things. The Mortis gods, possibly being involved. You see the statues. That was super cool. And then you find out that I forgot the guy's name. He passes away right after the episode ended.
The guy that played Balin Skull.
Balin Skull, yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah, I liked him a lot too. And I'm just wondering how season 2 is gonna, go with him being gone. How are they gonna, kind of write him out? And then
You got to recast, right?
do you think?
I think so.
You got to. Like, he was too big, and I mean, nobody will be mad at that recasting because everybody loved the character. Of course, he'll be constantly compared to him, But come on, like, dude, no, Balin Scroll was too cool of a character not to recast.
They bring in Mark Hamill as Balin Skull.
Oh God.
Anyway, I'll give it a good, but I have high hopes for season 2, and we'll see. So I think almost everybody got good except Michael, who put it as his favorite.
One of my favorites, yeah. It's just like, it was a lot of fan service that they did with like Ahsoka fans and stuff like that. Like, they even threw the Morai in at the end. Her little owl. Like, that's how you knew she was back. It's like, holy shit, she's back. And then, it pans over to Anakin standing there smiling. Like, he's there too. So wherever she's going to be, we're going to get more Hayden. And yeah.
So should I spin?
Why not?
The
It just looks ridiculous, doesn't it?
Looks like a record player.
It does.
Yay. All right. So the last one on the list is Book of Boba Fett. Michael, what do you think?
This one was kind of middle of the pack for me, for the simple fact that I love Boba Fett, and I feel like it kind of gave me too much in a direction that I didn't want to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand, like, the whole thing that he went through with the Sand People. I kind of feel like the Mandalorian kind of stole his glory in the show a little bit. It just wasn't. I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm saying that's not my Boba Fett. You know what I mean? But it just kind of wasn't. It gave me a different outlook of Boba Fett, and it's not what I really remembered about Boba Fett. And I'm not talking about like a character progression standpoint. It just didn't feel like the same person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it just felt off to me. Even when he showed up in The Mandalorian, I was just like, it just doesn't feel like Boba Fett to me. Although I did like, kind of the end of The Mandalorian when he sat on like the throne, Jabba's, throne. I thought that was super cool, but I don't know. I didn't hate it and I didn't love it. So I'll just go with middle of the pack for this one.
Yeah. All right, Kyle.
Yeah, mine's middle of the pack too, because it's not the direction where I would have took the series. They could have did so much stuff with Boba Fett, especially for being a legendary bounty hunter. They could have did amazing bounty hunter type episodes with him, but the direction they take him is just weak. It's not where I would have went with it. It's just that it was just a missed opportunity what they could have done with the book of Boba Fett. I thought it just not what I would have went with. So it's in the middle of the pack for me. I just like this could have been a really good opportunity to really do really amazing stuff with him. But I just thought they just wasted. They went in the wrong direction with the series. I thought so. Middle of the pack for me.
Okay, Steve.
Let's see. Excuse me. And this is for
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett,
Book of Boba
the
Fett.
series. Yeah. I just finished this one and a couple days ago for a second time. I really, really liked it, and so I'm gonna rank it as I'm gonna put it as good. I almost did one of my favorites on this one, but I'm gonna say good because I love the backstory. I love how we get to see how he survived and Return of the Jedi. From the pit and all that. Yeah, it was cool, and I really liked the series. And that dude, that outlaw dude with the blue face, that alien.
Oh yeah,
cowboy hat.
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane, he's bounty hunter from Clone Wars.
Bro, yeah, that guy looked wicked.
He looked just like that in the animated show. Like they did a really good job with it.
They did.
Wow.
I definitely agree for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked really good. And so yeah, I enjoyed the storyline. So I'm gonna put it as good.
And then the sheriff was in Scream 2.
Oh, Timothy Oliphant, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's also Justified, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Wasn't he also in that? What was that movie where they shaved their head and have the barcode on the back?
Oh, Hitman.
Yeah.
Based on the video game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually like that movie.
And wasn't he in Deadwood too? Deadwood. That Western.
He's been in lots of stuff. Like he was also in that movie too. I always forget the name of it, where he goes out to the baseball field and the guy comes and he has to shoot him in front of
the Crazies.
The Crazies. Thank you. Yeah, he was in the Crazies also.
And he was also in the fourth Die Hard as well.
He's been in a lot of stuff. That guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it middle of the pack because I think that they kind of like nerfed Boba Fett in this show because in Empire and Return of the Jedi he was ruthless. There was not a kind bone in his body. He was a bounty hunter out for money, and he was going to do it whether it was good or bad. And in this show, he's this heartfelt, warm guy, which, that's not a bad thing, but you don't do that for Boba Fett. Boba Fett was ruthless. He was going to get the job done, come hell or high water. So yeah, I'm going to go middle of the pack. JD?
Yeah, I'll say middle of the pack. I kind of felt like it got to a point where I kind of felt like just Mandalorian. What was it? Was it middle of between 1 and 2 or between 2 and 3?
2 and 3. They called it Mandalorian 2.5.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It had some good moments, and what didn't like. I don't know. It's middle of the pack.
All right. So that's it.
Oh,
we
wow.
got everything ranked.
All right.
So
Nice.
for the iconic, we got Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
There we
Look at
go.
that. Yeah.
For
Revenge of the
favorites,
Sith.
we got Kenobi, Revenge of the Sith, Mandalorian, and Rogue One. For good, we have Attack of the Clones, Solo, The Phantom Menace, and Ahsoka. And middle of the pack, we have The Force Awakens, Boba Fett. Not my favorite is what is that? That is The Last Jedi and Andor. And Into the Shoot Flyboy is The Last Jedi and the Acolyte.
Both of those belong where they're at, man.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Like seriously.
But this was fun, you guys, though.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was a good
thanks,
time.
Russell. You stuck with us the whole time. And hey, Paula, it's good to see you.
Paulo, what's up?
And we had Michelle here. I don't know if she's still here, but thanks for coming by, Michelle. We appreciate you coming. And thanks to everybody on the panel. It was fun time.
man.
That was fun. Sounds like some people are starting to fade. So
I love the style we did because you don't know what we're going to talk about next. So I love that kind of style the way you do rankings for sure.
Yeah, I saw Steve use that wheel, and I was like, man, that is awesome. So,
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
I thought that was cool for Wes Craven ranking, Steven.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'll probably be finishing that up tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, is there anything else anybody wants to say before we go? Because I know it's kind of late.
I do declare that Revenge of the Sith is iconic.
I second that.
It's really good.
It's a good show. It's a very, very good show. All right. maybe I'll change my mind,
Real quick before we go, did you guys know that did any of you guys watch Parks and Rec?
No.
The show Parks and Rec.
I've seen some episodes, but yeah.
So there's a scene in Parks and Rec where I always forget this little comedian, but he's in like he's talking, in front of like government officials, and he ends up talking about Boba Fett. And this was before the show Boba Fett comes out. And he's like, and he reaches his hand out of the Sarlacc pit and pulls himself up. Well, Jon Favreau got a hold of him and said, I'm going to use that exact thing. So the way he's talking about it in Parks and Rec, which is a comedy, is Favreau did that on purpose. And that was the way that he came out of the Sarlacc pit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's totally awesome.
That's so awesome.
Just a little fun. Did you know?
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming. I had a lot of fun. I know it was a little bit longer than normal, but I hope you had fun too. And hopefully we can hang out some more. And people in chat, thank you for being here. And we will see you really soon. May the force be with you always.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.